Hey YouTube, this is Home Server Show. It's episode number 100, recorded on May 11th, 2016. I almost said, oh, someone's calling me.
By the way, happy birthday to Dave McCabe.
Happy birthday, Dave.
Happy birthday, Dave.
Woo!
Today's his birthday.
Stutzman trying to call. Sorry, it's ringing in my ears. Dun, dun, dun. You know that Google Hangout thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, YouTube. Back on you. Hey, this is an audio podcast. We're getting rolling here. We're going to start the audio podcast. So don't expect like a 30-minute review or a 3-minute review. This is going to be like an hour, hour and a half. This is a podcast. So we extract the audio, we ship it out to iTunes, and we send it all over the world via RSS. Please subscribe to the podcast in your favorite podcast reader. John says, sent you invites. You have to join mine. Heard the call. Enter. Okay, John. All right, you guys ready? I see the VU meter
You
bouncing.
bet.
Okay, let me get my OneNote straightened out. It is the notes of choice. OneNote.
There's Goon over.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Hey, Scoon. He can't hear us.
He must not be able to hear us.
He says it's an SFO.
Love it.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Barely.
I have the bright lights on me.
I was fixing to say, is that a California tan? Or did you get that in a tube?
That is San Francisco airport sunlight filtered through really dirty glass.
Nice.
Hopefully, if this next jet moves, its tail might block the sun for a little bit.
Oh, it's sunny there.
It's sunny.
Pitch black here. There's Stutzman. For God's sakes, it's about time.
All this technology. What can I say? I'm confused.
Gang is all here. All right. So we're live on YouTube, fellas. I've already introduced to the YouTubers that this is an audio podcast. Sorry for taking so long. So this is episode 300 of the Home Server Show. Tonight we're going to be talking about a couple of brand new announcements early on. We're also going to be following up on some TiVo talk. I've got some cameras from Netgear Arlo. We're going to be talking about if this, then that. We're going to be talking about some VPNs. Jim had an interesting conversation earlier this week or last week, and we have tons of more Wi-Fi conversations to talk about. The Wi-Fi situation in the world is getting crazy. And free Untangle, and then we're going to build some servers. If we get through all of that, and we have time left over, we're going to like talk some parts. We're going to build some servers because it's been way too long since we've built a server, and that's why I've got Stutzman. And I don't know if we'll have Scoon over long enough, but I've got PC Dog, Mr. Mike Fauché here. We're going to beat him up. So,
Dave, will we be doing any congratulatory backslapping?
congratulatory backslapping.
That's the key.
I have reserved the first 55 minutes for that.
Awesome. lots of congratulating ourselves to making it to 300.
Well,
But it's not so much that you were congratulating yourselves. It was what was the term of affection that this person called you to?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Really? Did you look this back up, Kevin?
I did not. I did not. But I need to go look it up because it was something derogatory.
It was. I just remember the congratulatory backslapping.
Yes. That was excellent. I will bring that up.
Term,
we will reminisce to show 100. So I'm going to turn around, hit the big record button, and we'll do 300. How about that? This is the Home Server Show, episode number 300, recorded on May 11th, 2016. Welcome back to the Home Server Show. I'm your host, David McCabe. I am surrounded by all my rowdy friends. All my rowdy friends are coming over tonight. We're going to get it on for episode number 300. We're going to have some congratulatory backslapping. I guarantee it. No, we're going to podcast tonight, guys. I've got a great show for you, and we're going to talk about all that kind of good stuff. But please don't forget, we are a member of the Geeks Network, thegeeksnetwork.com. There are a lot of podcasts out there, and you should subscribe to all of them because they're pretty darn good. And I'm going to throw it out to Mr. Jim Collison and then those gadget guys over there at the AverageGuy.tv. They're doing some great podcasting of late, and there's some real good shows. You're going to want to hit the big rewind button and go get all of the, I would say the past 10 shows and listen to those. Really good stuff going on. TheGeeksNetwork.com. Get them all. All right, so I'm Dave. I am your host, and I'm just going to introduce all these guys, and I'm going to click on them so they show up in the video for you guys watching at home. Mr. Jim Collison, obviously, my co-MVP, my co-host. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Greetings, Dave.
Good to see you. And Mr. John Stutzman. John, I haven't seen you in forever, and you only live like an hour and a half from me.
Actually, about 3 hours.
Okay, 3 hours.
But I go by your house a lot lately. I driving back and forth to Ohio, and a few people know that I'm in the process of looking for a house in Ohio, and we'll be moving out there. And so in this process, though, I go by and I wave at Indianapolis as I go by and say, "Hi, Dave," and wonder what you're doing. Probably having a lot more fun than me.
I don't know, because you never know which house I'm in at that time, and we'll talk about that. But I've got something for you later, so we're going to talk about, hopefully I can get you back to Indianapolis. But also coming from San Francisco, who currently doesn't live in San Francisco, but it's Mr. Kevin Schoonover. Kevin.
How you guys doing? Happy
Hey,
to be
Kevin.
here. Happy to
Kevin.
work remote. The SFO Wi-Fi is actually quite adequate, so hopefully I don't cut out.
It is
top
hanging
up.
in there, and you're getting a lot of golden sunshine there in the Sunshine State. Is it the Sunshine State? What's California, Mike?
Yeah, that works. That's
Okay.
Crowded.
Yeah.
Okay, crowded state. And that was PC Doc, Mr. Mike Fauché. How you doing tonight, Mike?
Gentlemen, good. Yeah, I would say that it's a good thing that Wi-Fi is good in San Francisco, being the epicenter of technology, right? You want to make sure that you're giving a good show.
That should work. It should work
Yeah.
there well. All right, so it is episode number 300. We were talking jokingly about congratulatory backslapping. We as podcasters, when I started this in 2008, Lord, I did not know I would get to 100 yet, let alone 300. So when we got to 100, I mean, we just pulled out all the stops in order to pat ourselves on the back for reaching 100. Now, we had a review, didn't we, Jim? Didn't we
Well,
just kind of review?
To be honest, Zadler contacted a whole bunch of podcasters and said, "Hey, Dave made it to 100. Would you send in some audio clips?"
That's right. That's right.
That's what John did. John was just trying to be a nice guy. I mean, it wasn't even like us congratulating ourselves, which we did a little bit of it, but it was Zadler trying to be really nice to you.
I mean,
And
he got like Paul Thurrott
I know.
recorded a clip. So
Yeah.
go back and find 100. I don't even know if it's still
It was. I
available.
think I was going to look it up here, but man, we took a shelling for that.
We took
It was
a
really
shelling.
one. It was maybe one or two listeners that just got a little crazy because it was like, oh, I'll never get that time back in my life, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've run across. How many times do you run across? I've got probably 20 shows in my
Right.
in my RSS my listener, my podcast listener, and I run across bad episodes all the time. I just hit stop. I don't take the time to email them and say, "Hey, you suck. Stop wasting my time."
Yeah,
So-
July 29th, 2010
So
was that. I wonder if the comment is still out there.
2010. Wow.
Let's see
So was the case, and it was congratulatory backslapping. That's the best we can remember. Yes, we did do a little bit of that. I mean, I will definitely remember that. So while Jim's looking that up, I've got some things to throw out at you. You guys are my inner circle here on this podcast tonight. But as you well know, we have, maybe 50 to 60 other guys that are pretty close that come to see me every year and I want to go ahead and with episode 300, go ahead and announce Meetup 16, the best meetup ever. Hashtag John Stutzman is going to be on September the 17th. Mark it in your calendars right now. If you're listening in your car, please pull over before you do so. Put it in your calendar. Check out all of the airfares and the hotel rooms in the area to get yourself to Meetup 2016. Now, there's good news. This is hashtag no drama meetup. I have already secured the Microsoft building. It is there for us. We are in. We will be in the Microsoft corporate offices in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is about a stone's throw from the mall where the Microsoft store is, where the Tesla store is, where all kinds of other good stuff is if you need to go shopping. And there's several of the hotels in the area. So I would recommend, Kevin, John, I have not looked up the names of those hotels, but when we were there last year, people were saying that they were really fine establishments. Kevin?
The Hyatt place was the spot that I landed at, and it was very nice location. Technically, probably walking distance to the Microsoft building, so it was very good.
It was, and there were two. There's another one over there, and I'll get a post out to you guys and let you know. So the only person that has known this was Jim, and he is bookending this thing. He's got travel to and fro prior and and after. So we're gonna have to secure Jim, but this thing is gonna happen. We have the building, we have the year, we have the number. Fauché, I think it's time. I'm giving you 4 months lead time. 4 months.
I'll do my best.
I've got 2 houses at the moment. I'm sure I can find a room for you to stay in. I can tell
if
you.
if you had 3, then it'd be a cincher. But
One of the houses is going to be the party house, Dave.
It would be
So we
a
have this house and then the party house.
You know what? By the time you guys get here, I'm going to have 1 house. Let's just say that. I'm selling it this weekend, actually. I'm busting my butt to do that. So there will be a new Home Server Show headquarters. There will be a new HSS HQ. So that means the Friday night prior, there's probably going to be something of a special invite, or I will arrange something. So you really want to use Friday as your travel day. You want to travel Friday. You want to be here. You want to be kind of comfortable so you can come to the headquarters. We can meet somewhere. Last year we met at a brewery, and we had some Mexican food and some cervezas.
It was good.
Yeah.
And I'm open to doing that again, or we could meet at one of those hotel lobbies, and we could walk over to a restaurant. We could, we can do just about anything. So I've got things to do. I need to get out a ticketing system. Now, it's not going to be free. I've learned my lesson. We're not going to put it in meetup.com. I learned my lesson on that. People troll that for free food. So I will get a ticketing system out to you. It's probably going to be 25. I think it was 25 last time, and that covered pretty much everything, especially since I didn't have to pay the rent on the Microsoft building. Maybe I can reduce it this year. Maybe I can reduce it. Last year, if you didn't come last year, so I didn't have to pay for the meetup space. So I had, I had $400 extra bucks. So I used that to buy Sundays. We had an ice cream place come to the building, come up to the floor where Microsoft is, and they just started building ice cream sundaes for everybody. So that
awesome.
It worked out really good. And I had 3 gallons of chocolate sauce left over, so that was good stuff.
It was delicious.
Kevin, are you good with that?
Should be fine. I was just checking the calendar, and I got nothing going those days, so
All right.
should be good.
Stutzman, you'll be coming from Ohio.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Hopefully I'll be coming from Ohio. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you will. You'll be sold and you'll be done, right?
You guys are forcing me into it now. I'm gonna have to go too.
That's the idea.
I think we should go full Fauché for this one.
I think full Fauché. You will be the rock star, Mike Fauché, if you show up to this.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep piling it on. Go ahead.
You will be my headliner. We will hold you in the back room, in the green room. We will
We'll
pull
give
out.
Mike a Sharpie to sign all of our T-shirts.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll have you a bowl of M&Ms. We'll pull out the brown ones because we know you're special, and we'll pull you out with a big announcement to all the troops, and everybody will be able to enjoy the full Fauché. Okay, so I kind of teased Twitter yesterday about big announcements, and that was one. So I have one more, and I saw a little. I haven't even looked at chat. I need to look at chat. You always got to have the chat room open. So I saw a couple of people hinting towards, I hope this is not a bad announcement. I hope this is not 300 and done. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's not. So we're going to keep podcasting. We're going to keep rolling this machine. I've got some ideas brewing in my brain, which is always a dangerous thing, especially for you guys that are close to me. I've got one or two more podcasts inside of me. That one has been brewing for a long time. The other one was brought out not too long ago by a guy listening, that always listens, and we chat a lot on Twitter. I'm gonna let you know about those in the near future. I'll get those out of my system. But I think Home Server Show, I don't think she's good for another 300. But I think she's probably good for at least 50 to 60 more. I like to do the storage thing. I like to do the home automation thing. So I think we're going to keep that rolling. So in order for me to keep that rolling, I'm the kind of person that someone somewhat needs to be held accountable. So sometimes you need your feet to the fire before you get off your ass and stop watching Survivor and come upstairs and podcast. So I've had a donate button on my site for quite some time, and a lot of people use it. And what they get in return, besides overwhelming thanks, is an email. They get an email from me saying, thank you. I'm going to put that towards the next hosting bill. I'll add you to the donating group in the forums, and that's it. They don't get anything else. So I thought, how can I be more accountable for those donation dollars? Now, and I've also been getting this request for quite some time. People email me and say, Dave, where's your Patreon? Why aren't you on Patreon so I can jump in there and help you out? And I'm saying, I'm not. I'm on PayPal. That's all I got. I got a button, PayPal. And there's some people, Mike Fauché, I remember when we were talking about buying licenses about 250 episodes ago, you guys jumped all over, we don't like PayPal. There's some folks that don't like PayPal. They don't like to use it. So there's this new thing. It's called Patreon. And little did you know, when you give me $1, PayPal takes I think 10 cents every dollar. It's some crazy amount of money they take away from it.
Something like that, 7 or 8, something like that.
Yeah. Patreon is the same way, but they give you an avenue in which to communicate back in a private manner to those who gave you said 93 cents. So the official announcement today is, well, we'll have a Patreon channel soon. Now that doesn't mean that I thought of this morning in the shower. That I've been working on this for quite some time. Now Patreon, people do it differently. Some folks get out there and say, give me the money and I will say thanks. I'll mention you on the podcast. Well, I have come up with hopefully a list of things that we can do. Now here's the thing. All of the money, Patreon, PayPal, whatever it may be, even I've had some guys mail checks before. to support meetups. All of that money gets put into the system and it goes right back out, whether it goes for hosting, servers, domains, GoDaddy, whatever, it goes right back out. Meetups, all that money goes back out. I don't go to Dairy Queen and get a Blizzard with the hard-earned money that you send me with PayPal. I would like to, but I don't do it. But I've come up with a list that I hope will give you some feedback. And it'll say, if we reach a goal, right, I'm going to do this, like X, Y, and Z. One of them, the coolest one that is really attainable, is we upgrade my entire VPS server to RAID 10 SSDs. That will have, a genuine effect back to the Patreon, right? So all the money we raise, it's going to go right back, because that's what I do with it now. But you can't see that. When it goes into PayPal, it just disappears. I transfer it to my bank. I don't have any accounting of it. I just know that I got X amount of money. I pay my bills. I move on. So the only thing left I have to do for Patreon is shoot like a 1.5-minute video saying everything I just said in the last 10 minutes. That's all I got left to do. And then it'll be ready. Everything is filled out. All the goals, so there's goals and there's rewards. So if you give me something, I give you something back. So there's some accountability built in there. So search for Patreon, Patreon, I think. I didn't know there'd be spelling tonight, but you can get an account. What I'm really looking forward to, and I can't wait to do, is when we have Patreons that join and offer up $1 a month or whatever I've got it set at, I can communicate with you within the app, within the Patreon app. I can communicate directly to you. I can take ugly mug selfies on my lawnmower and send them straight to you and say, this is how I'm spending your money. Gas money for the John Deere. So things like that. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I think that in the short order, it makes me be more accountable with the money that most of you guys are already given anyway via PayPal. So that's it. Also, I've already got emails written up too. I'm going to email all the PayPalers. If you've given in the last 6 months, you're going to get an email from me saying that I am physically going to go into PayPal and cancel that donation, unless you don't want me to. Some guys might not want to move over. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But I think I would like to move to this accountability kind of thing. So that's it. That's it, Jim. Done. Episode 300.
That's it. Have a good night, everybody.
We're gonna say goodnight to Kevin Schoonover. Kevin, thanks for hopping in. Do you got Wi-Fi on the flight? Can you at least
Good to see you,
on the
Kevin.
chat?
If we do have Wi-Fi, I'll try and jump on once we get airborne here. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Take care, gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening.
See you, Kevin.
Okay.
Thanks for
Good to
jumping
see
in.
you,
man.
Kevin.
Okay,
Take
be
care.
safe, Kevin.
Safe travels. All right, so let's get going. We are way into this. I want to follow up with the TiVo Roamio. So I got an email last week saying I might have misled you guys, and I hope that I didn't. The TiVo Roamio, we're talking about an over-the-air box. If you didn't catch last week's podcast or 2 weeks ago podcast, TiVo is, their model was to sell it for cheap and make money on selling you monthly subscriptions for guide data, right? That's kind of how they've been all along. Well, now they've come out, I believe it was May 2nd, that they released, they're going to have the TiVo Roamio. They're going to sell you the box. They're going to sell that box for more money. It's going to cost you more, but the guide data is free. So you get the guide data. So you pay that one time, you're good to go. You're done. You can record 4 channels at once at home and watch them. Use the app. There's a great app experience with the TiVo Roamio. Now, what I was misleading on is there are other flavors of TiVo Roamio. There's other SKUs out there. So you need to probably Google TiVo Roamio and go look out there. Make sure you're not misled by my show. So if you're going to buy one, make sure you buy the right thing. Now, these things are available on Amazon. I better not say Amazon. I thought they were available at Best Buy as well. So I'll get another email, Jim. Now, I also mentioned that you can use TiVo Minis, which is a little $149 box, in separate rooms, much like we used to do with the Xbox 360s as media center extenders. Well, the TiVo Mini will extend the Roamio to another room, another TV. Now, it burns. That's the bad part, is when you're watching the TiVo Mini, it takes a tuner away from the Roamio, I believe. I think it takes that tuner in order to play to the other room, which that could be a problem. But from what I've heard, and I can't prove it yet because no one's told me it still works, but there was a way to use the Amazon Firebox and the Fire Stick with the TiVo Roamio. Now, I haven't seen exact perfect nomenclature that says the new Roamio OTA will work with the Amazon Fire Stick. I have not seen that. I haven't looked like lately today, but I was looking for that this morning, and I could not find that. So now you don't have to have a TiVo Mini as well. You don't have to have it. That's just a little addition to that. So that makes sense, guys. I didn't think that I misled, but obviously maybe someone that knows a little bit more about these things said that it could have been a misleading conversation. I don't know.
Roll with it.
Roll with it.
Roll with it.
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. By the way, I've been podcasting since 2008. I have broken every single written and unwritten podcasting rule that is known to mankind. I say mankind in a loose way because I mean mankind in general, not womankind or monkey kind or anything kind. All of us.
Are monkeys podcasting now? Or
monkeys are
you
podcasting.
worried about that? Or maybe aliens?
Yes,
Yeah.
monkeys are podcasting. Have you heard some of those Apple podcasts out there? Monkeys definitely podcast. Of course, I'm not talking about our very own Mike Uyghur, although he did end his podcast.
He did.
He's going to join yours.
Yeah.
But I've broken every rule out there, Jim. I have. And yet, here we are at 300 episodes. So that little statement right there is a hint about something that is soon to come. So I've got that. I've got that going for me, Jim.
All right.
It's going to knock your people's socks off.
When are we going to hear about this? When do people have to come back to? It was
This one's going to take me a while.
All right.
This one's going to take me a while.
You're just teasing us. You're going to stretch this out over the.
No, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm not going to tease it anymore.
Oh, come on. You know better than that.
That would be unfair. It has nothing to do with home servers.
I've podcasted with you for a long time. You're going to tease this
nothing
all the time.
to do. I will. But nothing to do with Surface, geeks in general. Not even geeks. It's totally different. And I've got this other podcast idea, just unreal. Unreal. I've just got to put it together. Okay. I like the Netgear Arlo. And when I saw this news, I thought of Mike Fauché, and I've not talked to Mike about the Netgear Arlo camera system, but I like it. The only reason I dislike it is it's a cloud-based system. Mike, have you looked at Arlo ever? Have you looked at, I mean, they're little bitty. You can click them onto your rain gutter, for God's sakes. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they are. I have looked at them. I never actually bought one because, you know, I don't know, just spec-wise, they don't quite compete with some of the other stuff, and they're all kind of, I don't know, just something that I looked at and I looked at compared to what I'm using right now, and I decided not to go that direction. I like the concept though. I like the power efficiency. I like the portability and putting them in just about anywhere you want. I think that they're uh, in the right situation. They have a, it's like using the right tool for the right job. So I think if you've got some place that you just can't get any kind of power or PoE or LAN cable or anything over there, I think it's a good solution. I'm with you though. It's not that I mind the cloud solution. It's just that I'd like it to integrate in addition to the cloud solution, and that doesn't seem like that's practical.
Somehow you would want this to integrate with something you're
Yeah,
using,
yeah,
right?
sure.
Okay, so this is why I brought it up. Because I don't like the cloud stuff. I'm kind of that guy that holds on to his NAS. It's like that you can take away my NAS when you take it away from my cold dead fingers or whatever the heck the saying is. Um, I like the storage at home. I like to connect to it. I like to do it myself, right? Now I'm slowly losing that as I've dumped my server. Don't have a Windows server anymore. I don't have a Windows Home server anymore. I just have a Synology NAS. But I saw a tweet, and this was on May 9th. Question to Arlo Smart Home. Any plans to integrate with smart things? Would like a way for the cameras to detect when leave and automatically arm. Okay, that was the question. This is Twitter, by the way. He's not like, this is Twitter. Arlo replies, all we can say right now is to stay tuned in the coming weeks. Arlo and SmartThings. This would be pretty darn cool. So now also, if you haven't been paying attention, or I try to pay attention a little bit, if this then that has come to Netgear Arlo. Now that's huge too, because if this then that can bridge the gap between the Netgear camera system and anything else. If something else is on if this then that, like a D-Link smart plug, you can turn it on with something triggered on your Netgear Arlo system. See, Jim's got one right
there.
there. I need to
Boom.
click the Jim. Is that the one that reads the power usage and things?
Yeah. Yep. I picked up one of those. We talked about it, a month ago?
A couple of shows.
And,
Yeah, that would be last
so-
show.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but no, these are very cool devices, and is on this and that now, and very old things. It doesn't have robust Internet of Things stacks, really cool thing. Plugs. They've got the water sensors. They've got a little siren strobe, and of course they've got cameras. All of which are on if this then that, and hopefully Netgear Arlo will be too. Now, something that intrigues me about Arlo is this: they're still on their first gen of cameras. Now, they have released an indoor camera that's a little bit more higher resolution. So I'm thinking anytime between now and January of CES, maybe we're going to hear about, Rev 2, some new cameras. I do think didn't they release another outdoor? I can't remember. I don't stay up on Netgear enough. So you can help me by jumping into the forums. We can talk about Netgear Arlo. And if you're really into the home automation stuff, you probably should be over at homeautomationforums.com.
Hey, Dave, let me ask Mike Fauché a question along these lines because he's good at this. So, Mike, that question was, I want to trigger when I leave. I want it to arm or to start recording or whatever when I leave. Like when I'm at the house, I'm assuming what that means is when I'm at the house, don't come on. But as soon as I leave the house, I want you to turn on the cameras, right, and start doing your thing. Why would you not, especially in these cloud services that keep a certain number of days for you as opposed to keeping, why wouldn't you just want to record everything? I don't understand why anybody would want that to shut off.
I think they'd want to do that for probably most of us for privacy reasons. I mean, there's a kind of possibly an odd feeling when you've got video cameras recording everything you do all day long versus just using either motion detection or schedules or anything like that. you know, I
So,
think
so it's
it's
okay
a
if you
valid
record
use case to go
doing
ahead. What's that?
it's okay if you record your neighbors doing everything, but you don't want to you don't
Right.
want to record yourself. Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, and I have that same situation, but I usually tie mine into my schedule's fairly rigid, so I usually tie it into certain hours of the day and weekends and certain hours where I know that there's not supposed to be anybody walking around, and then all the outdoor stuff I leave those totally on motion sensors or motion triggers. So it
Oh,
really
I guess
depends.
I was only thinking about the outdoors. I get it. Okay, so I get it. I was only thinking about outdoor and not indoor. That makes sense. If you got indoor stuff, yeah, absolutely. You don't want to
Yeah.
cut that stuff on while you're there. I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, why wouldn't I put outdoors on all the
Oh no,
time?
outdoors I have mine on.
Yeah.
They're on 24/7, and they only trigger when something actually takes place. And
Yeah, and especially
I've
if you're
got a lot
moving
of
it to the
footage of it.
cloud.
Cool, man.
You know, right? If you're moving it to the cloud and they're keeping a certain number of days, most of
Yeah.
these plans are tied to that. You would want to just push as much stuff as you possibly can there from a security standpoint. Okay, I get
Well,
that.
that's the other thing. We're talking about cloud, and Dave brought it up earlier. I don't know what kind of storage that the Arlo takes, but cumulatively, when I look at about 7 to 10 days of recording, some of it being or most of it being on trigger only, we're talking about some serious gigabytes that have to get flowed. And that's one of the main things. I mean, conceptually, I'd love to have everything on the cloud and being able to just pull it down whenever I need it. But the sheer amount of storage just seems to make it prohibitive unless you're recording super low resolution or highly compressed video.
I'm new to this ball game, Mike. I've got probably 5 different flavors of indoor cameras that
Right.
I probably, when I move to this new house, I'm probably gonna toss because all of them are junk.
Yeah.
It's all been an experiment. It's a Foscam PTZ here. It's a D-Link that, unless you have complete lit room, it can't see crap and it's low resolution. I have one good D-Link camera, and it's a 720p camera, and it's actually really fantastic. It's a good camera indoor, and I'll probably keep that in action. But otherwise, I'm starting afresh, and I'm going to stick with the Rio Link. You and I have done a couple of shows on those, and you've got a pretty good review on your site about some cameras. And I've got places mapped out. I'm going to use PoE, and I've got a secondary wiring cabinet mapped out in an attic situation. Going to wire that up, going to get that rolling, and I want to see 360 on my house. And yes, I only want to record if something breaks that plane of view. Hopefully I'm going to be able to define that. I'm going to use Synology's surveillance system. I've bought camera licenses already. I've got 6 camera licenses. The NAS comes with 2 free, so you can put 2 cameras in there. I bought 6, and so I'm going to have 8 cameras. I'm going to wrap my house in some 4K video action, and I'm going to record it. If anything moves, I'm going to record it. And this is all going to a separate NAS. I would personally, if you're playing with it and you've got one camera maybe, yeah, use your main NAS. But I personally wouldn't, Mike. It's got to be
Yeah.
completely separate.
Actually, I would also suggest one of the things that I found the hard way, and I'm really curious to see how the Synology handles it, is the bandwidth of the streaming video when you start talking about recording and you start talking about viewing, 6 to 10 cameras or whatever, the bandwidth that comes out of there, the bandwidth requirements to record that and to actually be able to display that, just the video processing alone is far greater than I expected. My CPU on my recording system is usually hitting 80 to 85% 24 hours a day. Just and like I said, with not a lot of recording, just wherever there's an activity. So I'm wondering how Synology is going to take a 2500 100 by 1400 camera stream, or multiple of those, and what it's going to do with them. So I would test a couple of the high resolution cameras out with your Synology before you buy too much or set up too much, because it may not handle it.
Well, I have, and I tell you what I've been doing is I've been messing around with the secondary stream, right? So you can, and if anybody is out there listening to this, and it can be confusing, because it's confusing to me, and I bought the dang things. They will output multiple streams of video, so you can attach to the thing, and you can look at the pure. It's almost a 4K image. It's like a 3 megapixel to a 4 megapixel image. It's a big image. It's huge. But you can also tap it and say, hey, just send me a 1 megapixel image. Or you can say, send me a 640 by 480. Something, like that. So I've been kind of playing around with that to see how, okay, constant streaming, can I do that and not, first of all, not kill the network, right? So I'm trying to segregate these cameras where I can kind of hit them on one switch and keep it, somewhere local to them if possible, and it, not completely destroy the CPU of this Synology box. So I will test that.
Yeah, definitely interested to hear about that, because I hear you with the multi streams, and at least my experience is that you tend to record, or you tend to want to record at a higher resolution.
You do, absolutely.
Then, which by default it records at full resolution of your camera capabilities, and then you can play with the substreams for video, video playback or monitoring or whatever. I'm still surprised though at how much all of that takes in the grander scheme of things, especially going, and how much of the CPU it actually takes to decode all that stuff.
Well, I'm going to stretch it even further. I've got plans for my super tablet, and we've talked about this before on the podcast. You've probably heard it, and I want we're definitely talking about this in homeautomationforums.com. It's really kind of cool. Richard Gunther from the Home On podcast has jumped in, and he showed us his tablet, and he's really intrigued about our discussions about super tablet. But I would like to have, I'm going to have a tablet on the wall that's going to activate when I walk into the room, and I want all my information right there in front of me. If my garage bays are open, I want to see that at a glance. If lights are on, lamps are on, I want to see that. There will be icons to tell me that. And I want to set some, maybe some larger icons, some squares of video. Maybe the doors, maybe shooting the doors, maybe shooting, the driveway, the garage doors or something. And that will be extremely low stream. I'm talking about getting down to like 320. I want to pull different streams from that. So there's some things. I've got a lot of work to do.
Are you planning on using an off-the-shelf component, or are you planning on having somebody do some software for you? Because I'm trying to relate it to, the experiences I'm getting from, some playback or some factory software that runs, say, like Blue Iris and plays back on my iPad. It does a reasonably good job. Actually, in many cases, the iPad does a better job of playing back the video streams than I get off of a computer. Largely because of the way they handle graphics versus, the traditional Intel chip or whatever. But is that the direction you're going, is to try to actually do something off the shelf or custom?
I definitely want to give it a shot off the shelf first. I've technically got it listed. Here's how I'm going to do it. Here's the apps I'm going to use. Here's how I'm going to use it. Here's how I'm going to power it. Here's how I'm going to mount it. I just have not put that into effect yet. First of all, my network is going over there in this house, but it's barely going, right? I've got my router up. I've got the NAS up. I've got 1 or 2 cameras. They're all indoors. They're pointing at mechanical systems, right? They're pointing at, like, I had a brand new water softener put in. It's pointing at that because we did have a leak at one point. So everything I'm using right now is pretty rudimentary. You know, I got Cat5 looped in the ceiling in my basement to the switch and as powering this. But soon, you know, when you're over there 24/7, Mike, you know, and you're in the house, I'm going to be able to do something like that. I'm still working on. I've got the runs from the basement where the rack is to the main TV area, and there's a big cabinet there, and I'm poking holes in the back, and I'm trying to get, you know, battery backup to that. That's going to be technically, it's going to be like a secondary wiring station for me, so that's where SmartThings is going to go. I'm going to have an access point sitting there. I want it all battery backup. I'm going to have a nice switch going there, and of course there's going to be a TV, and the TV's got an Ethernet. The Blu-ray player has an Ethernet. You know, there's Roku. There's going to be a lot of IT right in this little TV cabinet, so I'm looking forward to it. I know you're probably already tired of hearing about it, and I haven't even moved, for goodness sakes. But here's the cool thing. I announced Meetup 16, and I am going to link Meetup 16 and Patreon in, I don't know how, but I think for sure there's going to be one option if you're a Patreon where, you know, I comp your ticket to Meetup. You know, just get here and you don't have to pay the entrance fee. Well, the entrance fee is $25, but I'm just saying, you know, it's an accountability thing. But also, I'm going to have the new headquarters tour. Now, we've done headquarter tours before, but you know, this one you're definitely going to want to come to. This is a really cool house. I can't wait to show it to you. I can't wait to show it to my friends. You know, first of all, Jim's got to get here and pick out his room. I don't know where you're going to sleep.
I know. You should send me a floor plan when you have one, Dave, so I can get that.
I will do that.
Maybe a few shots from your surveillance camera, so I can get it.
There we go.
You got it.
There we go. I'll just give you the key to the system. That way you can kind of watch us and how we mingle around the house.
There you go. That'd be a good idea. I'll have my own screens here set up with the cameras.
Right.
I can see what's going on at the McCabe's today.
We put them on screen one. Actually, there's a real nice bedroom. I think that you're going to want this one.
Nice.
It's right over by Max, my 7-year-old.
Oh yeah, I love Maxie.
Love the Maxie.
Yeah.
And you'll have your own private bathroom, so you won't have to go out into the hall and fight with Chris Kenny.
It was good to have Chris across the hall.
Yeah,
sure.
He was in the cars room.
Yes. Yeah, he's a good guy. It's good to have him at the meetup.
All right, so we keep moving on. Amazon Echo. I'm going to do this real quick because I want to mention this person. Twitter, DKB Intrigue, tuned me into the next one, guys. If you're in OneNote, it's a wall mount and a ceiling mount for your Amazon Echo. Oh, I'm sorry. How many Echoes did I turn on? So that thing from Amazon, that's a speaker, and you can talk to it. You can mount the thing on the ceiling. Looks like they are 3D printing these, selling them for $25, but mounts right to the ceiling. If that is good fashion for your home, someone would throw the Amazon at me if I stuck it on the ceiling.
It would be tough to get to the buttons too. That every once in a while, right? You want to touch the buttons to shut something off that you started.
You can flip the knob on the top,
right?
Just real quick with the volume.
That's a little on the wall would be nice, you know, to mount it right on the wall. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, actually, I look at that item. And it looks like it could be wall mounted, ceiling mounted, or even desk mounted. I like that little thing. It's a pretty cool concept.
Right. If you didn't want her to walk off, you could mount her feet to the desk.
Well, I was actually thinking more of, or less of the large one and more of the small one.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
yeah.
Where that could actually be mounted either on the side of a dresser or, you know, by your headboard or somewhere kind of tucked out of the way and not, you know, I got mine on my nightstand and you got too much other garbage around there and it's just another item to put on top of the nightstand. It'd be kind of nice to just mount it somewhere.
Yeah, the dot is perfect for that. You know, the profile about that high, that would work out really, really well.
Yeah, the other one looks kind of. I mean, I guess if you depending on your situation, it might come in handy. But I think it's better fit for the dot. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that helps someone. I mean, at least it starts the old imagination. You know, where can I stick this thing? And it's pretty cool.
Well, when you say it that way.
Yeah. Bend over, I'll show you, podcast boy.
Shut that thing up.
Congratulatory backslappers.
Shut that thing up.
All right, so from the forums, in the forums lately, there's been some VPN talk, and Fauché has been in on said VPN talk. I don't have the exact link in front of me, so I'll let Mike hunt for that because I know he knows his reply. But Jim, you talked to Anonybox last week, which subsequently gave me a follow soon thereafter, so thank you for the mention.
You bet.
But Anonybox is this cool little box, and I totally could have used it this past weekend, Jim. I don't know why you didn't send me one. I totally needed it. I was traveling. I was at Hotel del Coronado, which is a fantastic place, and I thought, you know what? I'm tired of logging into their Wi-Fi every 13 seconds with my room number. I could have used the Anonybox. I could share it, and then I could have created a tunnel back to home, and I wouldn't have to worry about my stuff being shown all over this hotel, which is haunted, by the way. I mean, the ghost could have got my Visa card because I was ordering from Amazon while I was there. So this little thing looks like a great little. To me, Jim, it looks like a travel router.
It's a perfect travel router. Yeah.
That's how it fit my lifestyle. I don't think I could use it permanently at the house.
It's literally that big, WAN and LAN, a plug-in for power,
Freaky.
USB port on the side. It's USB enabled, super easy to set, or Wi-Fi enabled, super easy to set up. You can wire it or go wireless. No battery in it, so you have to have it connected, right? It comes with a cable that you plug in and take it with you. It needs to be USB powered. So, but yeah, $99 for the tunneler, $129 for the Pro, which I have here, which supports Tor. And it just dropped dead simple to use.
So
and
if I listened correctly, Jim, I get the one with the Ethernet. So if my hotel has Ethernet, I'm golden.
Yep, right
I can click in the Ethernet, and it's got a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yep, they all do, by the way. They all have that.
Yep. So now, if the hotel doesn't have Ethernet, it will bridge, right?
Correct. Yeah, okay. You connect this to the hotel Wi-Fi.
The HOFO.
Then the HOFO.
That's a new term.
I did say that, didn't I?
Hashtag HOFO.
That's when you connect to the Wi-Fi in a really bad part of town.
The HOFO. Hey, we're an equal opportunity podcast, Jim.
Sorry.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yes, connect this to the hotel Wi-Fi, and then you can connect multiple devices to this.
Okay.
You want to configure it with your favorite VPN provider. They hide my ass, and they have Viper now that is.
Do I have to do that?
If you have your own VPN, you can, and you know what you're doing, you can connect this to your own VPN at home if you want to come back to your home server. It's a little bit of work.
Do you think I could get it to talk to like a Synology or a QNAP or something?
You know what? They encourage us, Dave, to hack on these things to get them to work with a variety of things. And if you send them a note, they'll work with you on it. So it's 12 guys in an office in Chico, California, who are just having a ball creating these things. And in August, their CTO and founder basically said, if you can hack something and find a way to do something we can't do, we'd love to hear from you. So. Right. They're very open to that. It's not an average guy device, even though we covered it on the AverageGuy.tv. It's a little bit more than that. But I think for most that listen to this show, this is a fun little device to have. The Pro is good, right? If you're using Tor and if you have a use case for it. If you're just using VPN, go with the $99 tunneler. That's perfect. And most of us can drop that on our Amazon list and pick that up and get one. I'd encourage you to. They're a really cool device. Hack on it. Let those guys know.
Anonybox. This thing is on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's not Prime, but it's on Amazon. So Anonybox Pro Wi-Fi Tor VPN router. So is this what the bad guys buy? bad guys buy this so they can be bad without anybody knowing?
Without knowing it, yeah, you could do some of that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, everything that's good could be used for bad. So we talked a little bit about that. Go back a couple shows on Home Server Show and I'm sorry, on Home Gadget Geeks. Those guys are right there. Yeah, they were fun.
Good show. I enjoyed that one.
There's a competitor product to that too called Tiny Firewall that basically does the same thing.
Yep.
Firewall.
All I got is a mouse.
Yeah, no, it's odd to find, but if you go to your friendly neighborhood Twit, you can find it on their site. They have several links to it. It's almost identical in terms of features. You pay like $100 and you get the first year. It includes the first year of VPN service. So I mean, it's certainly a good deal, but ultimately, I guess it depends on what you're trying to do. To me, if you already own something, you might as well use it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mike, to be honest, if you're a one PC guy, you're a laptop guy, and you can use a VPN client that'll connect back to a pfSense box or to a Windows server you got at home, and you can do that. Hey, that works in a lot of cases. But you might be a multiple PC guy, where you're out or you're running and you want to run a couple items through, or you need a travel router of some kind. Then these little boxes come in handy.
Absolutely, yeah. The one advantage they have is as you mentioned, is you can get multiple users on there.
Yeah.
And that's something
that's the real advantage.
Yeah, if you're going in a hotel room and you got 2 or 3 other people, you just set it up and you go and you make it happen. It's just a question of, it really boils down to what your performance needs are and what you're trying to do, and whether or not you're comfortable, buying a piece of hardware and carrying extra stuff with you.
Yeah, you're basically carrying this, right?
Yeah.
This is what you carry.
Yeah,
so you have to have some space
like an
for
old hotspot, mobile hotspot.
Right on. Wouldn't that be great if you could? I'd love to see him put a battery in this thing so that it could. You could charge it up and get. There's not much hardware in there. It's basically a Raspberry Pi, right? Type deal that's in there. And
I've seen one of the use cases actually uses an external one of those power pack batteries to power one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we covered those too. We covered these little Kensington, right? 5-in-1. It's got a hard drive in it, and it's got a I think a 3,300 milliamp whatever in here. Yeah, no, apps that'd work great. That would be wireless, and this has a wireless point in it too, by the way. So you could get Wi-Fi on this thing. This also has a plug in here, where you could do the exact same thing, right? No VPN, but you could plug this in and then create your Wi-Fi off of this. These were cool little things. They didn't get as much run as I thought they were going to get, but
I ran across a TP-Link wireless router, battery powered. Well, it's compatible with several different. Wow, it'll take a 4G SIM, or is this 3G? 3G, 4G wireless router. This is weird. Okay, I'll throw that in show notes just so you can see what I'm freaking out about. So the thing that I was thinking about doing, Jim, is I would like to just set it up default. I would like to jump into it. I don't know how you jumped into it, but you could jump into it wirelessly because you've got the SSID. Not that it's hooked up yet, but then you could say, okay, scan, okay, find hotel Wi-Fi, connect to it. Here's my name. Here's my room number. Connect, and then boom, you've got all your devices you're connecting. Use them. But at that point, it'd be cool if it just automatically kicked into a tunnel and tunneled you right back to your home network, so you could just use your same links. You could jump right onto your NAS, check all the things you need to do, and you could even grab internet through, I'm assuming, your home connection. That way nothing goes over that hotel.
Yeah, I didn't test it all the way with every single use case, and there's a lot of different things you can do with it, and if you can configure it to make it work and you can get it working, they'll support it. So there's definitely some powerful things for the average guy. You can kind of set it up for your favorite VPN service. Mike mentioned a free one. There's a couple other ones. You'll pay anywhere from $10 to $15 a month to support a certain number of bandwidth on the VPN side. You set it up, and it can be that simple. You plug it in, attach it. There's a web browser interface that you connect to, You configure it quick in the hotel, to connect and do what, because you might need to put some authentication in, right, to connect to the hotel Wi-Fi to make it work, and then you're off and running. It's not hard. It's not hard to do. Pretty simple.
I need to try this.
Yeah. But I love these kinds of devices, right? I love the sharing, kind of the Wi-Fi sharing. This makes it, if you're crazy about not sharing all your stuff over a hotel Wi-Fi, these kind of come in handy.
Yeah.
I think the price point has gotten good. Even this, I mentioned, I think this was $129 or $119. It's down to $101 now on Amazon right now. If you want to pick one of these up, I think they have some new hardware coming out in the next couple months. I don't know that for a fact, but and I think maybe the price is dropping a little bit. It'd be good for $100. You like this kind of stuff? Get a little box to have.
I was thinking, and if the G-Man comes knocking on your door, that thing will fit in your keister if you got it.
It's just standard
Just
VPN.
saying.
So yeah.
If you gotta take a run, you gotta run. Sorry, I was thinking Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I held that watch into my, Sorry. Pulp Fiction fans will get that. The Wi-Fi keeps coming, guys. I mean, I've been such an Eero fan, and I'm trying to be a Luma fan, and here I have Portal and Amplify by Ubiquiti. Mike, did you get a chance to see this new offering from Ubiquiti? The forums folks have been talking about this. I've been in there kind of bad-mouthing it.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, I'm very intrigued by it because, everything I've read about that new unit says that they fixed all of their past sins. So, it sounds like it's performing well for everybody. So, I mean, it sounds to me like it's on par with, some of the better offerings. I mean, I hope to be honest, I haven't used an Ubiquiti in probably 7 months or so. So I don't know how drastically they've changed their software interface and all that, but it used to be somewhat tech-oriented. It wasn't for the faint-hearted to go out there and actually set that up. Right. So if they could improve that, make it a little bit simpler to set up, and they've obviously improved the hardware, I think it'll be a really good solution.
Oh yeah, they've improved. Let me show you how they're going to try to sell this thing. All right, so Ubiquiti. It can be confusing. It can be confusing just to purchase the silly thing.
Yeah.
So they've got SKU 1, which is $199. It's 802.11n only. It's got the router cube and two extenders, but they're only N. All right. Then they have a long-range product, which is a 802.11 AC router, and then two 802.11n extenders. So that's kind of crazy. And then they have the high density, $350. You get the router cube, and then I think there's, I don't know, 2 or 3 802.11 AC range extenders. It's a mess. It's a mess when you got these other guys saying, here's Eero. There's 3 boxes. We don't care which one you use as your router. Just hook it up. Luma's the same thing. Here's 3 boxes. They're all Wi-Fi. They all work. And boom, here's security built in as well. You don't have to make any choices. You don't have to pick AC over N. I don't know. It stinks. It stinks, and it's not gonna work.
I guess I'm old school, but I still like the separation of the access points versus the router. I'm not liking this throw it all into one box thing. I'm not feeling that one. It's just I'd still prefer to have the access point be good at what it does, and have the router be good at what it does. And those two, at least unless you're willing to spend a ton of money, are better suited separately.
Right. No, I completely understand that. That's always been a concern of mine, especially with the Eero. The other thing that I don't like is fancy schmancy routers. I don't need a fancy schmancy router with a screen on it, because all I'm going to do is shove it in the bottom of my house in a basement. Nobody is going to see it, ever. I may see it if I go down there to make a cable change or do something. But that's it. Nobody is going to see it, and I for sure don't need it to be broadcasting wireless, because it's in a room with a bunch of metal, and it's not doing me any good unless I'm standing in there. So I don't need it to do that. So that's why I do like having a separate router that doesn't have wireless on it, and then putting the extenders out. And Eero's working for me there. Now I do know that they will double as a router, but they do access points very nicely, and they do roaming very nicely, and I've been very happy with it. I can't wait till Luma comes out. But this Ubiquity product, I'm going to give you a link, and you can go look at it, and I'm going to link you to the forums as well about the conversation. I just do not like.
Well, unfortunately, I think their past model has tarnished a lot of people. But I'm all for giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, and if they've come up and fixed all of their past sins, I still think that they're in a market. Them and Open Mesh are in a market that, to me, is the preferable way to go, where you have a dedicated high-performance access point. I mean, I have 20 devices attached to my Wi-Fi access point at any given time, and I never have any issues. And that's what I want. I want something that performs, that gives me the range, that's good at what it does, and can handle the bandwidth, and it allows me to do the configuration I want extremely easily. So, if they have been able to achieve that or match that, then I think it's worth a shot, because they're priced right. I mean, as a single standalone access point, it's cheaper than the Open Mesh.
Mm-hmm. I think the old school stuff really did suck. I think their new stuff, their AC devices, I think if you pay the money, I think they're fine. I think they're good.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt
Yeah.
they work. And I've heard in the industry that their $59 router is a dang good router. It's a good router. I think if you invested in that, I think it would be perfect. But the target for a boxed system that you can sell at Best Buy and Amazon and someday Target and Walmart, which is where they all want to get in front of all these people, a box system like that, you cannot have three different choices of AC long range or HD. It's not going to work. Simplicity is going to rule the day, and people will pay the extra money for that simplicity. It's been proven. It works with Apple. It worked with Eero, for God's sakes. Millions of dollars plunked down a year before it was released. Raising my hand. I was in it. They sold me with better Wi-Fi, and they honestly, they delivered. They delivered a really good Wi-Fi product. So that can be debated in the forums. I'm not going to get you all hot and bothered. I know you're driving down the road right now. You own a Ubiquity product, and you're beating on the dashboard, cursing my name. Jump into the forums. I'm sorry about that. I know your stuff is good. Everybody's stuff is good. Don't yell at me. Mike, but what I really want is Untangle, and I want it for free. Give it to me now.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, they certainly another one that's gotten a lot of attention, and they're the first product of this caliber that has actually targeted the home market, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you complain, or people will complain about the $5 a month or whatever the cost is, but in reality, that's probably cheaper than what you're paying for just antivirus solution, and you're getting it antivirus at the router level, which has come in handy for me a couple times. But so it really boils down to what you want to do. I still find Untangle, I don't know, it's a great product. I used it for many years, and I would highly recommend anybody try it. It's just I think even with their fancier interface, I think you still need to know, you're still going to have a little bit of a learning curve compared to setting up a Airport Express or something like that.
So yeah, I said free. It's not free. It's $50 a year.
Yeah, that's close. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the Untangle. It's the full product, Mike. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
like the antivirus? And I know you run this, right? So it's got several modules.
Yeah, I mean that was my complaint with them in the beginning, and they just turned around and fixed that. As a matter of fact, before I ditched the product, I had actually contacted them and spoke with their sales rep and said, "Look, you guys ought to consider, working a deal with me here because I'm not going to spend $200 a month to be able to activate all your modules, and to buy enough IP addresses to make this thing worthwhile because they used to limit you to 10. So I was spending, I believe it was somewhere around $110 a month for 10 IP addresses to be able to do filtering and antivirus, and that's just nuts. So to me, what they did and really swung around the other way and made it $50 a year. I mean, that was the right thing to do if they want to attract home users.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Let's say you're fine with your router. You're using pfSense. Maybe you like it. Can you not put an untangle box in kind of a bridge, kind of like almost like an
Sure.
invisible bridge where packets are flowing through it, but you can still keep your external router?
Yeah, you can. You pay a little bit for that. I mean, you obviously could run into some issues. You have a higher level of a complexity. You've got extra latency because you're going through two sets of something, whether it's translation or filtering or sniffing or whatever it is, depending on how you have it covered up or configured. But yeah, it can be done. As a matter of fact, I tried to do that once upon a time, and I remember Mike, the geek accountant, had done that with his super router. What he called this, I think, is a super router, where he had daisy chained pfSense and I believe Untangle together to do that exact thing, with the premise of being able to double up on the security. So yeah, you can throw it in a VM. You can do all kinds of stuff if you want to play with it. That's what I did recently with the new Untangle, is throw it in a VM. I mean, it had a nice blanket on top of it, but when you get under the hood, it was really similar to the old version, which I found difficult to relate to. It was difficult, in my opinion, to set up the rules. It didn't come right out and grab you. You had to know something in order to actually configure it. I'm not talking about just a learning curve of the product, because nothing has a longer learning curve than Sophos probably, but there's ultimately at the end of the day, it has to make sense when you configure it. You have to feel comfortable with what you're doing, and you have to feel that what you're doing isn't opening up every port in your house to the free world.
Yep, bridge mode. I just found it by just doing a couple of little searches.
Yeah, it's there. You can do bridge on just about any of those products nowadays. So if you want to play around with them, you can configure, and if you've got Hyper-V running, or you can configure it to actually pass through and be able to experiment with some of the features. You just have to have enough NIC cards that you can throw at the product.
Right. Yeah, so that's pretty much going to bring us to, I mean, the reason we're here is to build some PCs, and I knew it would take us an hour to get through the news, and it did. So, I'm thinking I've got a microserver sitting around. Correct me if I'm wrong, John Stutzman. I think I have the N54L. I have the one right before the Gen 8, right?
As I remember, I think you do.
Yes. See, I have to ask John what I have in my closet, because I've really only turned that thing on like once or twice. You guys
you brought
suckered
it
me
to a
into
couple of the
buying it.
meetups, and actually you had some nice setups in it where you demoed the how you could put 2.5-inch drives. I think it was 2.5-inch drives up in your 5.25-inch ODD bay at the top. And the last two times I thought it was pretty cool. It was good for people to see that, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of been a demo box for Meetup for sure, and I'll probably bring it again. It's got a dual NIC card in the back, so that gives it 3 NICs. It's got an extra uh, some SATA ports uh, in the expansion card as well, and that runs up to the ODD where I had a couple of IC docks running in there, and use some SSDs for the OS drive, and then you use the bays as your data. So maybe we need to assign that to someone to make a transparent bridge and to play with it and to do something like that. So Mike and John, I know it's been a while since we've talked about builds. It's almost because we haven't had a new software product in which to kind of discuss. But now we have the new Untangle Home, Microsoft Windows Server 2016 is, I think, in its second preview release. So that is coming up. I know it's 2016 already, but that thing's going to be released before we know it. And then folks are going to come in here and say, "Hey, can we put all these products on it and have it play nicely as a home server?" And who knows what other kind of SKUs are going to come off of that. So I think it's time to build something. So my big question for you is all we hear in the news lately is Skylake and how mobile computing, laptops, Apple, Surface, how all their chipsets are kind of lagging behind on what is perceived as Intel's second talk. Tick tock, tick tock. So this is talk talk. So tell me, are we in a good era of PC building with hardware, and how does this pertain to the Skylake chipsets? And I'm going to start, Mike, I'm going to start with you, and then John, I'm going to kind of swing back to you on how this relates to HP and the microserver product. So, Mike, motherboard wise, how long has it been since you've made a big build?
Too long, actually.
Uh-oh.
I was actually thinking about that. It's get sidetracked with the real world and moving and stuff like that. But actually, was looking at I was configuring a system online the other day, so I'm getting the bug to actually build something. Unfortunately, it's really hard to convince somebody to upgrade right now because there's not, even the Skylake stuff you're talking about is not a huge incentive in terms of performance gains over what we built, a couple of years ago. So, but if you're building from scratch, there's some really good opportunities, to get some. The ASUS has came out with a really nice line of boards that are fairly inexpensive. If you want to go the Micro ATX or some of the larger boards, even some of the mini ITX boards are attractive. Although I don't like those because you can't put enough RAM in them. But for the most part, there's some good selections in the Micro ATX category. And chips, they unfortunately the pricing is kind of the same. It seems like every time they go through their evolutionary process, it seems like the pricing just kind of hovers and stays the same. So you're going to get your Core i7, and it's going to be the same price point as what you paid for a couple years ago, and your performance is going to be, in the 20 percentile, roughly. So not really a lot of incentive to upgrade, but a great opportunity to build from scratch if you don't already have your system.
Okay, so Skylake, are we talking like a different die, or is this something? When you talk Core i7s, usually they get to a little bit more performance and a little better heat.
It's a die shrink. You're basically looking at a slight die shrink, so you're getting a little bit more performance with a little bit less heat and a little bit less power draw. But you're still looking at a 65-watt chip, so it's not going to translate to huge savings in the wall if you're talking about a desktop, but it might make a difference or will make a difference in the mobile application. You get significantly better battery performance in the chip and the chipset design.
Hmm. You know what got me kind of looking at this, and it's been forever since I've done a build, guys. I mean, it has been forever. The last build that I did was not even a build at all. It was just a motherboard swap. I swapped out the server motherboard for my PC motherboard because my PC was running an i5. The server was running an i7, and I thought I needed an i7 on that server because I was doing all kinds of virtual machines, and I needed the i7 to do some video work, but it's not really a build. That was just a swap. So you got to get the itching. You know, some of the cool parts about the build is the shop. You know, shopping for it's fun until you add it up at the end. But what got me looking at this is simply the RAM prices. I'm seeing like, just throwing this out there, like a $58 for 16 gigs of RAM. And I'm thinking, man, Mike, find me a motherboard that supports 64 gigs of RAM, and I'm going to load this baby up.
Yeah. Prices. The other thing that's actually a complement to that, sort of. I mean, is the they have really come out with some really neat cases. I think the case selection has really changed over the last few years. So you got a lot more to choose from. You don't have to spend 4 days looking for a case that might work for you, or that might look decent, or that might hold everything you need to hold. So, the RAM prices, the CPUs have pretty much stayed the same. Motherboards have gone down. I think you can get a really, really nice motherboard for in the $80 to $90 range. That's got full features, 4 slots, all that. So, I think there's a lot more to choose from when you're building nowadays than there used to be certainly in the peripherals. And then you add to that, the possibility of adding like plug-in cards that hold, M2 SATA drives and RAID configurations and all kinds of different options for booting your system that, give you some really outstanding performance. And then not to mention the overall pricing drop in SSDs. And memory is not the only thing that dropped. SSDs have just gone through the floor.
Yeah, 240 gig is like, I mean, if you're paying over $100, I mean, you probably didn't find it on sale, right?
Right.
Anything from
$200 for a 1 terabyte
110.
drive. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's great. SSDs, the price of SSDs, the price of RAM, and when I'm talking RAM, I'm talking DDR4 RAM, and I'm probably running DDR2 into this, this old hunk of junk down here. So, yeah, it's unreal at what has happened to the prices here, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and I don't know why. All my money's been going into portables, Surface. I did a MacBook Air for a long time, and then I did Surface Pro, Pro 2, Pro 3, and now I'm on Surface Book. All my money has gone to that instead of, my big box, and because I really haven't needed the big box. I've been pretty happy with the portable.
I got a real beef with portables.
You're on your like fourth one, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still using my old one now because I sent all the other garbage back. I'm just disappointed at what manufacturers are producing for portables. If you think about what you're building in a desktop, granted you can't take a desktop with you, but I know there's a lot of people out there using a laptop at home. Plug it into a larger monitor, using an external keyboard and mouse and all that. And that all works. It's not necessarily a bad setup. I'm not saying it's wrong. But when you compare the power and the quality that you get from, building a good desktop to what they're selling, under the umbrella of a quality laptop nowadays, it's just night and day.
Yeah, Um, I feel your pain. I mean, every single Microsoft product I've bought in the last 3 or 4 years has taken X amount of months to ramp up with firmware updates to get into almost a usable state. And I'm finally there with my Surface Book. It's
But the Surface Book is a really nice device, at least from the little I've used of it. It's a beautiful device, but
yeah,
that's not $800.
no,
It's
it's
not
yeah,
not even $1,000. It's
yeah,
you're talking some serious money for that device, and that's the problem. I mean, you could buy two, 4K monitors and a high-end desktop for the same price you're going to buy a Surface Book. Now, granted, it's a different, I know it's not the same use case, but I'm thinking of the home user and whether or not they're going to, whether you should be building or trying to buy a laptop and use it as a dual purpose. You're much better off, keeping a laptop as a laptop and a desktop where you can reduce some,
hmm
more versatile work, I should say.
No, very true. I mean, that's so true. I don't even I barely use my desktop PC anymore. It's my podcast rig. I use it once or twice a week to do the podcast. Sometimes I sit up here and just bang away on Evernote or OneNote, and that's it. I check my backups, upgrade the websites. I really could do that with just the Surface Book, and most of the time I do that. So back to the builds. I'm unsure about the whole Skylake thing. I think that I would be able to find a nice motherboard. I would probably revert back to my old days of a gigabyte. You guys got me stuck on the gigabyte boards. Been burned by MSI boards. I've bought Asus boards before. Really good. I would love to get some new RAM. Honestly, I need to redo my system down here. I was telling you my woes on the last show about filling my SSD up. So I've got two, I think they're 120s, two 120s and a stripe. Pretty fast, but they're filling up. And I need to just get out some 240s and throw in there. Speaking of 240s, Mr. Stutzman, the next time you drive to Ohio, stop by here. I've got a review unit just waiting for you. It's a 240 gigabyte SSD that AData gave to us. They heard us talking about SSDs. They heard us saying that we were out of space, and they just sent over a 240 and said, here, take this, review it, do what you want with it. So I'm going to give it to John Stutzman because he's Mr. Microserver.
He's the king of benchmarks. John does a good job with these reviews and SSDs, so
He
I'm sure it'll
does.
be.
Well, thank you, Mike. I try to live up to you what you've done, and
Yeah.
I practice the
you went-
full shay.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
Sorry,
Just
not
tried
too much congratulatory backslapping.
Yeah.
there we go.
No, it's
yeah,
you.
well, we had to do
No,
that.
you. No, it was you.
But
That's directly from them.
I've been really kind of chomping at the bit. I want to get done with this move. I've had to put a lot of my gear. I mean, if you went down to my basement, I think I told Dave and Kevin, right now, if you go down to my basement, it's wide open. I mean, things are boxed up, and the only machines I have up and running are the ones that I have to have, because. But I'm kind of, like I said, I'm chomping at the bit for after the move. One of my things that I wanted to do was to build a new desktop. And I have kind of my eye on Skylake. It's the LGA 1151 socket, so it's different from what we've been working with before. And looking at the chart, I pulled it up on the screen, and I thought I had seen it, but the like the 6700K. I mean, Mike Howard would probably love that one too. It runs at 4.2 gigahertz. It's looks like that would be a really nice chip for a desktop. Now, as far for gear, I kind of got into the gigabyte universe. With Mike talking about it, I tried it, had good luck, and so I tried to stick with them when I do builds, and I've done a number in the past. Um, Now we will have a Skylake server at the meetup. It'll be the HP ML30 G9. Um, and it's the one that I've been working with a little bit, and not as much as I want and not as much as I will. It only has 8 gig of RAM, but I can bump it up to 64. And it has a Skylake Xeon E3 1240 V5 in it, which
Okay.
there's
Is that on the market, John?
Yeah, it
Okay.
is on the market, and you can get it. Uh, Now, it's been a while since I've been looking at the prices, but you're probably talking 800 to 1,000 um, to get your feet wet. But I know I think Lone Wolf bought one, and he's talked about it, and I think there are some links on the in the
Okay.
forums. And there is a table in the forums that compares the Skylake that are in the ML30s to, uh, well, you could go back and compare it. I'm looking at it on my screen here with the comparison of the 1240 V5, and you compare that to our good old the N54L that you have. And the 1240 V5 has a performance rank of 754% above the N54L. So, that table's uh, in the forums under the area for ML10s and ML10 V2s, and we also have some stuff in there on the ML30s. So there's but I kind of like the Skylake. It's a really sweet machine, the ML30. But that's not building your own. But as far as building my own, like I said, I'm thinking gigabyte and maybe the 6700K would be cool. Though that's an i7. You could drop down to an i5 and still get some pretty nice performance. But
Yeah. You know what gets you these days on a brand new build is trying to keep up with the kids and their video cards.
oh yeah.
That I guess that I thought it would change. Back in the day when I was buying my, I don't even know what you call it. It takes up 2 slots, my double slot video card, my Nvidia, and I probably paid a whole $300 for it, and that was more than the motherboard and the CPU combined.
Sure.
And now you look, and these things are $600. I don't even think that's a good one.
Yeah, well, I would certainly be in the upper scale, not the highest upper scale, but sort of mid upper range. But it's add to that the Oculus Rift issue or the 3D renderings that you have to do, and that changes the game again because that drives the requirements out. Nvidia just released the 1080, which is their next generation, and it's right there on the first line of advertising. 3D gaming, Oculus Rift, all that stuff. So they're aiming at that, and they're giving you an extra 20.
Because there's a 980, and that thing's $1,000, Mike.
Yeah, they're not cheap. I mean, it adds it. If you exclude the monitors out of your system, which is at the end of the day probably the biggest investment for any single item, at least it should be.
Yeah.
Then the rest of the PC becomes moderately cheap and disposable versus the video card and monitors.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you kind of have to. But monitors don't obsolete anywhere near as fast as video cards, so that's the big difference.
Yeah, there goes my build right there. You've killed me. No Oculusing verbs for me. Did that on purpose. That's okay. I want one. I do want an HTC headset. I don't want the Oculus. I kind of want the HTC. But the thing is I don't want to have to build the PC for it. Right now, the PC I have and the card I have won't even drive a like a UHD, a quasi 4K monitor, like a 3K monitor. I can't even drive that. So until I have something a little bigger, I'm not gonna invest in that monitor, and that's kind of been my wish list, is to have a nice 4K monitor, maybe minimum 28 inch. Be nice to have like a 32 4K monitor, and then I'm going to drive all those pixels as small as I can get them. I'm going to put on my readers, and I'm going to get up here, and then I can read them, because I'm getting old.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. Is you want to spend all that money to make the icons smaller.
Smaller.
Well, I was hoping that Mike would do a build and write it all up for us and test everything, and then we would know which motherboards we have to get, and all the parts.
Okay, here's a good. Okay, there's a couple of people listening out there. Who is doing a build? I know you're doing a build. You've wanted to do one. Let's get into the forums, or even better, email me, podcast@homeservershow.com. Let's work something out. Tell me what you're building, why you're building it. Let's document it a little bit, because we used to do this all the time, guys. I mean, we were building stuff like crazy. The stuff that's sitting around me is all documented somewhere on the blog and in the forums. It's like, when we built it, we took the pictures, we blogged it up. So we need to get it going again.
Well, we're old and tired now.
And somewhere above, Northern California, Kevin Schoonover is back. Sans video.
Voice from 30,000 feet.
Yeah, the actually sounds pretty good. I can see you not have bandwidth for video, but the voice is sounding good.
Yeah.
He's surprisingly sort of the robotic voice from above,
I would have expected
the United. It's a pretty quiet little plane, actually, and the United Wi-Fi is holding up so far. So I'll just listen in until I have something smart alecky to say.
Well, while I've got you two guys, the microserver generation here, I first want to ask you. I need a status. I need to know where we're at. What is the microserver to buy right now? What is the price point going for? And I'm talking about like an Amazon Newegg price. And then, what are we doing to them these days? How are we modifying them to our usages? We were just talking about using my N54L as a bridge for Untangle, and how are you guys modifying those for your server environment? So let's go there as part B. But tell me, what is out there from HP today? What can I get?
Go ahead, John. All right, I'll go then. So microservers are getting kind of tight in the U.S. right now because, and they're a little tough to upgrade because they're on a, 2 generations or 3 generations back on the processor. So upgrades are kind of hard to do. A lot of the European guys are still talking about great cashback deals on microservers, but microservers in a little bit of a holding pattern right now. If you can deal with a slightly bigger form factor, the ML10 V2 is a great box to work on, and Lone Wolf did a really nice post comparing the ML10 V2 and the ML30 and the ML310E, and that, just saying that reminds me that HP makes too many servers that are kind of a lot like each other. But it kind of depends on what you want.
Almost at our cruising altitude.
That's the real truth right there.
Yeah, now we know for sure you're on an airplane.
He's not lying at all.
But yeah, like Kevin was going to say, it just depends on what you're going to do. But I think, my personal opinion right now, the way things have been moving, the ML10 V2 gives you the most bang for the buck. But I see the ML30 G9 moving into that. It's just I haven't had that much experience with it yet. I played with it when I could, and now a lot of that, now that I'm in the middle of a move and everything, I haven't been able to spend a lot of time kicking the tires. So, like in preparing for my move, I wanted to make a sort of a duplicate server for my data so that I could have my data in two places. I don't trust the cloud with everything, so I like to have data on my own hard drives. And so I took my ML10V2 and I loaded it up with 10 drives. I loaded up with 4 5 terabyte drives that I have in a RAID 5 driven by my P222, and then I have 4 1 terabyte drives. They're 2.5-inch drives, and they're in a RAID 10. That's for additional data, and I have that driven by ports 3 through 6 on the B110i that's on the system board. And then I have 2 SSDs. One of the SSDs is my OS drive, and then the other SSD I'm using to keep my for my Hyper-V my my VMs or my virtual hard drives. I keep on that SSD so that they can load and do their thing quickly.
Jim, did you just find this at Walmart?
I did. Yeah.
This is at Walmart.
You can buy this for this ML30 G9. You can buy at Walmart.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the 1240 V5. So that's kind of their performance Xeon.
Yeah, you lost me at the $1,200 part.
Well, I just wondered who's going to Walmart and buying a HP.
Yeah.
You know.
That's exactly what crossed my
server.
mind too. It's,
Yeah,
like, where the heck did that come from?
But I've seen lower prices.
Okay.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny that you could find this thing at Walmart.
Now, is
Where's my
that for
cute little
pickup?
boxes, John Stutzman? Where's my cutesy little boxes with a little door and I can put hard
Well,
drives
that's
in them?
yeah. The Gen 8 is still the Gen 8 microserver. If you want a small footprint, that's the way to go. And it's great. I have my Gen 8 now. I've made it into an HTPC, and I've put a video card in it and an SSD from the OS drive, and it's in my basement driving my my TV down there, and it's great for that. Now, of course, I had upgraded it in the past and had put a Xeon 1265L V2 in there, so it has a lot of horsepower too, so it can handle just about anything I throw at it. But and then my main machine, my main server, I guess you could say, running Windows. I'm still running 2011 home server, and it's on a gigabyte board. It's an X58, and it has it still has an i7 in it. It's I'm trying to remember. I think it's an i7 930, but don't quote me on that. But it still just cooks right along. I mean, it's not as fast as the newer stuff. I think you could probably get a lower level i5 out of the Skylake and run circles around my old i7, but the price is right. So it works. It keeps working. The Gigabyte has some really reliable boards, and it's been working well for me. But I don't know how I got off onto that tangent, but there I did. Then that's what happens when you let me talk. I start just
No, that's fine.
talking forever.
That's fine. You know what I was looking up? Jim just got my blood boiling because I scrolled down to the bottom of the show notes, and there's Mr. Self-Congratulatory, and I read it again, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This guy's pissing me off 8 years later.
Hey, I see some video of Kevin. He's
there he is.
transmitting video from the plane.
Don't your
he's got some
seatmates
bandwidth.
love that?
Only when I talk.
Yeah, they're like, Mommy, who's that man talking to?
Are you irritating your neighbors yet? Or?
He doesn't have any neighbors. He's sitting in a seat by himself.
Yeah, he's in the single aisle.
First class.
We're pretty full. We're pretty full up tonight back here in Cove.
That's pretty
Okay.
cool.
So, is there any indication from the HP world, the forums, anybody out there saying if there's going to be like a new microserver? Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but there have been several iterations of microserver, and it seems like when we got to Gen 8, we've been here for a while, guys. I need something new to get the old blood boiling.
So I'd have to go back and look, but I believe I unpacked my microserver on Jim's show back in August of 2013.
No, we're losing him.
Hey, we heard it all. August 2013.
I think that's so that's
It's been a while.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's gone.
It seems
know
like a
where he goes.
long time ago,
They
really.
caught on to him.
But I mean,
Yeah.
that's 2 generations ago. That was the Gen 8 used the LGA 1155 socket. So, and those chips are getting harder and harder to find. I mean, if somebody wanted to get one now and upgrade it to a 1265 LV2, it would cost a fortune to find one of those things. I mean, those are only available now if you find them where they've ripped it out of another machine, where a machine's been taken out of service and they pulled the chip out. And
Do you guys troll eBay for stuff like that?
Well, that's where I got mine, but I got it almost 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And actually, Lone Wolf found it and found some good prices, and he sent me the link, and so I got it from the same place, and the prices have gone up quite a bit since then. So really for the price performance, I think the overall best deal right now is the ML10 V2, but I see the ML30 G9. One of the things that's nice about it, well, there's a lot of things that are nice about it, but I mean, all 6 ports on the motherboard are SATA 3s, whereas the ML10 V2 is like the Gen 8, where the first 2 ports, channels 1 and 2 are SATA 3s, and the other 4 are SATA 2, which, for all practical purposes, usually doesn't make any difference. But when you like speed, you like speed, and you want all those SATA 3s you can get. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So it could be cool. I think we should have an interesting meetup. I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm hoping to really dress up the ML30 Gen 9, and I'm sure other people will be bringing stuff along. And I would like to see Yoda. I know last time brought a truck of stuff, and
He did.
I mean, he had 2 or 3 tables full of stuff, and it was beautiful. And and Kevin had a bunch of stuff. It was a lot of good stuff there.
We did. We had a really good time. You know that last year I gave out a bag of crap, and how fittingly was it that a Microsoft person won the said bag of crap in the giveaway?
Was that Dwayne? Or was it Rob?
It was Gentler.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it Dwayne?
Was it? I don't
No,
know.
I think it was Rob.
Oh,
Was
really?
it Rob?
I think it was.
Because, yeah, I remember his face when he unpacked the SCSI cable that I had put in there. Really good time. I think maybe we should do some more bags of crap and throw those into the drawing and have a little fun.
It's one of the few meetups I go to where people don't want the giveaways. I mean, there's some good giveaways, but we've all got these gadgets, right? We've all got this stuff, and so it's not like we've got some stuff there. We've had stickers we try to give away. Nobody wants that stuff. They're like,
There's
yeah,
always
no.
good stuff, though.
I know there's some great stuff to
Always
take
good
home.
gas at the end. And remember, who was it? Who was our new guy that won something? He actually gave things to the meetup as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying
I
there
can't
it's all
remember
bad,
his name
but
now.
we've given away some
Recluse?
crap. And
Recluse.
Yeah.
That was it.
yeah.
He was so excited to win. It was like, that's what I wanted. That was pretty neat. Yeah, so I'll get busy on a couple of big items and give those away. And I think we'll probably have a good time.
Always fun to see the look on their faces when we draw it out of the bag.
Yeah. I always like to see their face when I throw it at them.
Yeah. I was thinking, some other people that had some stuff there, Lone Wolf and Tinkertree and
Yep, Lone Wolf had a great presentation of goods there in his side of the room. Paul Breran had a good after lunch demonstration of his server. Chris Compton from the Smart Home HQ podcast
that's who I was trying. I was trying to think of his name.
showed the Smart Things version 2 hub before anybody had it.
That was cool. I hope we get to see more of that stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty slick. So, I think it's going to be a nice, a good meetup. We mix in Microsoft because it all started with Windows Home Server, and we got the Surface Geeks guys, we got the Windows Phone fans, and Microsoft always has something to show, right? They've got laptops and phones and the latest stuff there to demo, and then all the guys bring their server equipment and. We're always talking about some networking equipment. We also have a small little flea market. So if you have something that you want to sell, I remember I sold a couple of things last year, and I ended up buying a small laptop, and I'm since given that away. But it's fun. I like to buy from the kids. That was
and then it's always fun to descend on the Microsoft store as a group. All of us go up the stairs there and just kind of engulf the entire store, just kind of overwhelm them. Yeah.
Hey, we lost our store here in Omaha. They closed it.
Oh no.
Yeah, we had a pop-up. Well, it was a kiosk, and they closed it down. I went back I was having an issue with the band, and I went over there and it was gone.
Wow.
I was like, hey, has anybody seen the Microsoft store? And they're like, there was never a Microsoft store here. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Jim, I see the Microsoft water bottle on your shelf over your left shoulder there. Yeah, I noticed that because I had the same one. They passed them out that one year, and so I had to pack it into a box. I was packing stuff away, and I was just putting that with my.
There it is. Oh, I wouldn't have noticed that. The aluminum bottle.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's cool.
I guess I should do it that way. Yeah, there's some good swag when you come. This is the kind of stuff you get. So good stuff sits on my shelf. Dave, I've been saying that statement wrong the whole time as I'm looking at it. I said self-congratulatory backslapping. It's actually self-congratulatory rubbish. Is what
rubbish.
Self-congratulatory rubbish. Show 100 was utter crap. Total content free. Not a single thing I would consider useful.
I'm sure he never commented again because a couple of guys just came back and said, "Look, dude."
Steve J. Bellamy.
You Google that, and some tennis player comes up with a lot of followers. So I don't.
Steve, sorry, man.
Steve,
sorry. That's like 6 years ago. Sorry, dude.
Steve. Oh, Steve.
Total crap.
So the link to the show is gone. So that was a podcast I was hosting local on my server. So I will go clean that up. I will post the link to the podcast. So that is show number 100 to make sure you can get that and listen back to it. Because I kind of want to listen back to it now myself. So I'm gonna re-download that one. Let's see if we can get show 100 to show back up in the download stats. That would be kind of cool.
Is show 1 still available?
I think I put show 1 back out there. See, here's the thing. I was talking about how I've broken every podcast rule known to the book of podcast rules. Well, I started self-hosting my MP3 files, right? So in several server moves, I have since, like, I didn't transition those over. Like shows 1 through 100, I just let them fall off, right? Because I'm thinking those aren't relevant topics. Who wants to hear about Windows Home Server version 1 Power Pack 2?
Mm.
You know?
Man, those were the good old days.
That's rough stuff. That's a long time ago.
Those are the good old days. Power packs.
God help you if you fire that one up in your car.
Those were
you know?
great.
Brings back great memories.
That was great. You can easily get to the post if you go to homeservershow.com and in Dave's search in the search area, just put in show 100. It'll take you right to it.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll put the link in the show notes so everybody's got that. And
But
what I'm going to do, as soon as
doesn't
I'm
work.
done here, I'm going to go get a drink of water and freshen up, and then I will make sure I've got all the MP3s archived somewhere on a server here in the house, and I'll throw that back up on my server. Link it. I got to go back to the post, link it back up, and then you'll be able to download it just on the fly. You just listen to it on the web. You just find the show on the web and you can click it and listen to it. Right now it just does nothing. So that'll be fun to do. Don't forget, we talked about Meetup is going to be September the 17th. This is Meetup 2016, so we call it Meetup 16. But it's actually like, what is it, like the 5th or 6th?
6th, I think.
It'll be the 6th.
So it'll be, the other one will be technically 6th annual. So this is number 6. This is getting...
VI, right? We're going to start doing this in Roman numerals.
Oh,
VI.
VI. Okay. I like that.
The NFL won't come after us at all.
That's awesome. So, we are confirmed at the Microsoft building here in Indianapolis, out by Keystone at the crossing. There on the lovely I-465, where last year we did get to witness a pig truck turning over in the intersection, and that kept us enthralled all day long.
All day to clean that thing up.
Clean up all the little oinkers that had run all over the freeway.
That was great. It was like entertainment that we didn't even pay for.
Life in Indiana, I'm telling you, this is good. So I've got a lot of work to do to get the Patreon up and running, to get the Meetup posts going, and to start securing all the good and fun stuff for Meetup. You know, a lot of guys bring stuff that they want to give away too, so you're so welcome to do that. You're so welcome to bring a laptop or two, or something good and clean and operable. We don't bring junk. We don't bring Craigslist crap, broken 13-inch tube monitors. But we're routers and laptops and things like that you want to get rid of. Build parts, if you need to get rid of some build parts. I'm not talking about serial cables. I'm talking about like water coolers, or motherboards, or something like that. We will get it going. And I'm sorry this has been such a long podcast, but it's been a real good time, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you. Not only the guys that are here with me today, with Mike Fauché, Kevin Schoonover, John Stutzman, Jim Collison. You guys have kind of been with me from the very get-go, but I'd also like to thank everybody listening out there. The numbers for Home Server Show are just outstanding. I could not ask for a better audience and for a better download number, and you make it hard to quit you. I cannot quit you.
You say that to me all the time. You're like, how much longer are we going to do this? And Dave's like, the numbers are great. I'm like, I know, we just got to keep going.
As long as I show up and I have fun. Now, I don't do it week in and week out. I just cannot sustain that type of podcasting. I just can't do it. I'm too busy. And someday I'll tell you why, and that is the last teaser I'm going to give you for my show that I have in my head, my new podcast. But it's fun to come back here. If I'm having fun and I leave my chair without ass clowns like Steve J. Bellamy, riding on my butt about show 100, then I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it.
We'll do it even with Ask Clowns.
Ask clowns like Steve J. Bellamy. Who knows? This guy's probably some
I
millionaire
wonder if he's still
tennis
listening.
player.
Wouldn't that be funny if he was still listening?
Oh my God, he's going to be so pissed.
And he made it all the way to this. Like, he listened to this show the whole way to the end.
You know what? I give those guys a hard time on 100. Maybe I'll download 300. Maybe those guys have changed.
Now we're still bringing up his post. Steve,
J.
we love you,
Bellamy.
man. We will never
Yeah.
forget you.
You know, and I don't want to say that you can't give me gruff because you give it to me every week. I get emails every week, but Dave, you missed this, or you goofed that up, or
I
you
do
know,
too.
on
Yeah.
minute 53 and 12 seconds, there was a pause there, and it was very uncomfortable. And I was in my car, and I was at the car wash, and I didn't know if you were still podcasting or not, but.
Yep.
No, we get complaints all the time, guys, and I'm telling you, if you guys are listening, it's not you. It's not you. You just get weird complaints. You know, sometimes you catch a guy on a bad day. You catch me on a bad day, and I'll text Jim, "What the hell are you thinking?" It's like, Dave, go eat a Snickers bar. I'm like,
Exactly.
sorry, Jim.
Exactly.
I know we get that way. Thanks, Mike.
Well, thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Coon.
Congratulations on show 300.
Yes.
Thanks
Woohoo,
for
we
having
made
me.
it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Good. Mr. John Stutzman.
Thanks, Dave. I've loved all your shows. They're fantastic.
We appreciate it. Scoon, over you there? Where are you flying over right now?
I'm here. I'm still here.
You're going to
I
Minnesota
don't know. I
from
got to
San
get the United
Fran?
app up to see.
He's got
San
some money.
Francisco to Minnesota is my run for the evening.
Okay, so that's your run. Okay, well, I'm going to count you in on Meetup. I'm counting all you guys in, even that kid from California there at the end. I'm counting him in.
All right. Let's do it.
And if you're listening too, I'm going to count you in. Thank you so much for listening to episode 300. And I will see you back here for 301. Guaranteed. Good night. Wow, that's a long show.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks, YouTubers.
It's long for me, and you guys are like 3 hours ahead.
Oh, I
Now,
know.
aren't you glad I didn't catch you at your sister's house, right? Your
That's where I'm at.
intermediary.
That's
No,
where
that's
I'm
where
at.
you're at.
I
I
can't
told you
make
to. I told you to go home.
Yeah, well, I didn't. It's kind of hard to. I left. By the time I left, there was no way I was going to make it. So I didn't.
Aw.
For some reason, I thought it was still 9:30. So I know you said 10, but somehow my brain heard 9:30.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's why I messaged you. I'm like, I'd like you to be home because I know we're gonna go long, right?
Yeah, I figured that. No problem. It's
Okay.
okay.
Hit the road.
Guys, thanks a lot, and good
See you,
to
Mike.
see all of you.
See you in
right.
a couple weeks, man.
Kevin, thanks again for the package.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
See ya.
You bet.
Yep.
Put it to good use.
So Kevin, what's up with the spruce? You sent the spruce to Mike. Are you not gonna try it out?
We so part of this.
Oh man, they're catching on there on United.
Hey, I'll see you guys later. It was a great show.
All right,
See you, Mike.
See ya.
Take care,
Bye.
man. See you.
Actually put sprinkler and it's
Drive
a
safe.
project.
We've all hung up, and Kevin's still talking.
He's landing, and he's still like, hey.
Poor
And then,
guy. The satellites are buffering tonight.
um,
Stutzman dropped.
yeah, Stutzman's like, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. He goes to bed at like 7:30.
I know.
He's retired.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I put the latest build of Windows 10 on my box. So we're
Oh, nice. Well, Kevin,
crap.
I can't hear you from the airplane. If you can hear me, just call my phone someday. Maybe we can catch up.
Sounds good. I'm gonna sign off here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see you, Kevin.
Take care, man. I'll let Jim go because it's like past midnight.
No, it's 11:15. Here we're an hour, but it's still a little late. I think everybody else has gone to bed.
Yeah, and it's like 500 degrees in my room right now. Shut the door and it's
Really?
hot. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
I'm
man.
baking. Completely baking.
Looking forward to the new room.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You're going to like your new
Be
room.
good.
Hey, YouTubers.
It's gonna be a good meetup.
Good
See you,
night.